So for me, when I'm thinking about living an elegant life, one of the things that I take into account is how can I simplify my life so that I have more time to do what I want to do, hobbies, elegant pastimes, relaxation, and how can I make my home more cohesive and run more smoothly with the limitations that I have. So I live in a relatively small apartment. I don't have tons of room. I don't have a laundry room. So for me, one of the things that I do is send out my bedding and my linens to be washed and pressed. And this just means that then I don't have to have racks in the home with laundry drying all over the place, and then I don't have the hassle of having to iron those big sheets, bedding, towels, things like that. Now, some people don't mind about ironing the bedding, they just put it on. I think your bedding looks the most beautiful when it's beautifully pressed, crisp and clean. So I've always ironed my bedding, and in the last few years I just thought, oh, this is such a hard slog, such a difficult task, and especially when you do have the sheets drying around the house. So I decided to send out my sheets. It costs me between £13 to £22 a week, depending on how many sheets I send out. I've just got my sheets back this week, and this cost £22.25, and there are towels in here and sheets, and the beauty is that it comes in a wrap like this, and when you open it up you can smell the freshness, and everything is so beautifully pressed and neat. So that when now I'm going to change the bed, it's Monday morning, I like to change my bedding on a Monday. I haven't had the hassle of spending hours ironing, and you know when you get all discombobulated with the sheets and where you've ironed, it's done for me. So for me, that £22 a week is worth the investment and worth the money in saving me time and just giving me the opportunity to do other things that I'd rather be doing, like reading a book or pursuing a hobby. It just means that I don't have to spend time washing the sheets. So it's all about finding the things in your life that are perhaps not serving you best, and if you can give that job to somebody else or find a way to simplify it, it is really going to make life just a lot more elegant. So yeah, go through your life, think about those small things, and you know, we can't all afford to send out our sheets. I'm not saying that, obviously, but there are ways that you can look at life and find ways to simplify things so that you get to enjoy the things that you want to do more than the tasks that you really don't enjoy at all. Time to change the bed. One very neat tip if you are using a flat sheet on your bed, which is something that I like to do because I just feel it's more clean and hygienic. If you have a flat sheet, you only need to wash that actually once a week, and you could leave this on for a few months because it's not touching your skin. Nevertheless, I do like to wash it as well because it just smells better, but technically you'd be fine. But if you are using a flat sheet, what you can do is, with the duvet cover, you can put the button edge, which is here, which people usually put down the bottom of the bed, you can put it at the top so that the bottom end of the bed, it looks clean. You've got the seam, the stitched seam, and at the top end you can fold the top sheet over the buttons, or maybe it's a zip, and that will hide it away, and you get this nice, clean, finish. And so you fold that over like that, and then you've got a nice seam of the top sheet here instead of the button showing, and the same on the other end, so it looks nice and beautiful and crisp and clean. And when I stay in beautiful hotels, I always like to see how they make the bed, because they always look the best. And that is where I got that tip from. You put the button end at the top with the top sheet folded over, and then you get that beautiful finish. Just makes all the difference. Elevates your bed. So that is the bed done, and I don't know what you think, but I think it is such a satisfying thing to see a lovely made bed. It just really sets you up for the day in the morning if you can get up, take your shower, get ready, and then make the bed. It's just such an easy thing to do, to leave it there all day, messy. Who's going to see it? Nobody but you. And you have to get into it anyway. That's what people will say. But I just think making the bed shows that you care about your environment. It is a task that you can do first thing in the morning, where you can say, wow, I've done that. I'm already onto a great start. So you're a step ahead, and it's something that you've achieved very early in the morning that you can be proud of. It looks beautiful, and then when you walk through your home and you get into bed at night, you can create a new ritual. You have your morning ritual, and your nighttime ritual can be turning down the bed, taking off the pillows, pulling back the sheets, getting yourself ready for a beautiful night's rest. And when you've got lovely sheets and you've had them all pressed and they look lovely and beautiful, I don't think there's anything nicer than that. It's the small things. So yeah, the sheets are done for another week. These will go off to Stuart, who collects the laundry, in my Fiona Finds bag, and they'll be back in time for the next time. Now, for me, I particularly enjoy lovely products. I'm somebody who has always tried to take care of myself as best as I can, and that means, again, a ritual. Rituals that you set up in your life that become habits and that you come to enjoy, just like making the bed. So I have my dressing table here in the bedroom. I have my cosmetic case here. This is Louis Vuitton. I'm not really into designer things or labels, but I've always really admired Louis Vuitton. I think I talked about in a previous episode that when I was about 16, it was my ultimate brand, and I always wanted to own a piece. So now that I'm 35 and I'm in the world on my own making money, I decided to invest in that, and I really do like it. I mean, it's the only label thing that I have, and it's just great. I travel a lot, so I needed to have something nice and sturdy, so this works very well. So yeah, having lovely things like that is always good. And then here you can see I have my fragrances. So fragrance is also something that I'm deeply fond of. I just think that fragrance has the power to change your mood, it can set the tone, it tells people who you are, even if they've never met you before. It's often the very first impression that someone will get. You know, when you walk past somebody in the street and they whoosh their fragrance. I love that. So it is a very important thing, and I think it makes life very elegant. So I have my favourites on here, and I just wanted to show you a few of these. So first off, I'm running quite low on this one. This is a fragrance by Ormond Jane. Now, this is quite a niche brand. It's not so well known, and those are the ones that I usually like. This is called Vanilla d'Afrique. And Ormond Jane is a London brand in Mayfair. It's got my name engraved onto the lid. And this is probably the most beautiful vanilla fragrance that I have. It is very warm and comforting. Wow, every time I smell it I get a surprise. It is so beautiful. I do have a fresh bottle that I got about a week ago, so I hate it when you get to the very end and you're like clinging on, but I have a fresh bottle, so I know that I'm good to use this one. It smells so elegant, again warm and comforting, and just the most classy fragrance if you want something a little bit sweet but not sickly, with that lasting power, and as it dries down you get different surprises. So yeah, that is an Ormonde fragrance. I have two of these. The other one that I have is called Cashmere, here, and again it has NF engraved onto the top. Cashmere was the first Ormonde fragrance I got. That is a very complex fragrance, quite masculine, woody, oody, but complex. It reminds me actually of Nathan, my best friend, because he wears it as well. We both got this one together. Kind of like a cashmere blanket, even though this is named after Kashmir, the place. It always has reminded me of a cashmere blanket because it's warm, enveloping and consuming. Gorgeous. Then, I said earlier that I like fragrances that are a little bit niche. The only fragrance that I have, I believe, that is more mainstream is this one. This is Dior Homme Intense. This has been a favourite of mine for a few years. It's quite expensive, even though it's one of the mainstream ones. I guess it is Dior. But this is a very, very chic fragrance. Let's spray a little bit on my wrist. Yeah, it's got a little bit of that vanilla again. And then it dries down into this luxurious, sweet, rich fragrance. It's very difficult to explain. I like to not read the notes so that I can try and explain how I see it and how I smell it. Very beautiful. I have to admit, one of my ex-boyfriends used to wear this one, and it still reminds me of him a little bit, but it was a good thing, not a bad thing. And then we go on to some florist fragrances. These are becoming more well-known now. About 10 years ago when I first discovered them, they were still a little bit under the radar. But this is the oldest perfumer in London. It is still owned by the Florist family, and it is a favourite of the royal family. So I have three florist fragrances. This is Santal. That's very clean, that one. Then we have this one, which is Elite. This is a very old school fragrance. It looks like you would see it in something you would see in a duke's bathroom or dressing room with that green liquid. This is very, very elegant and old school. I will wear this. It's not my very favourite for special occasions. It's something that I will wear every day if I'm not really going anywhere in particular, but I do love this one. It's very chic. People comment on it. And then my favourite florist fragrance is this one, which is called Leather Oud. Again, very, very old school, gentleman's club vibes. The most beautiful leather fragrance. It smells so, yeah, like a stately home or country house, with in a library with all the books and the fire burning, and then maybe the lady of the house has brought some flowers in. Very, very beautiful. And then my very, 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 very favourite rose fragrance ever. This is NCP 302 My Rose. This is a very, very rich fragrance, probably the richest one I own. It is quite jammy in terms of, you can imagine it being very syrupy. That's how I can explain. But the most deep, rich, it would be a very deep pink rose, or even burgundy red, like a jewel. And NCP is owned by a lady, I can't remember her name, and My Rose is what she was called by her father, so that's a very sweet fragrance, beautiful. So yeah, and then I also have some Bewley. This is a hydrating body milk, so I like to use that. This smells wonderful. And then some of my skincare. So I've got this cleansing balm from Wild Smith Skin, some Dr. David Jack products. This is a SPF, a antioxidant vitamin C, and a nighttime cream. So yeah, I think that having a dressing table with your lovely things beautifully displayed, a place where you can sit and enjoy getting ready, the ritual of getting ready, enjoying fragrance, is a lovely, lovely thing that makes life beautiful and elegant. So the next thing that I wanted to share in terms of living a more elegant life is just being generally organised and keeping your home tidy. And to highlight this point, I thought that I would come into my closet. It's not a room that I show, it's not really a room, it's just a cupboard. It's not really a place that I show very often in my house, and I thought that it would be a good chance just to show you. People are interested in my clothes, things that I wear and how I organise, and this is just an example of how you can quickly have a 2-minute, 3-minute reshuffle just to make everything put everything back in its place and make everything beautiful and clean again. So I like to do that in every part of my home. So I will every day choose one drawer, quickly go through it. It takes about a minute, just make sure there's nothing in there that shouldn't be, and I have a place for everything. My closet, when I was getting dressed earlier, I thought, could do with a little bit of a reshuffle here. So let me just move this back a little bit. And what I do, I like to keep all of these in colour order. So you've got whites, creams, beige, going into grey, a little bit of green, navy blue, which is majority of this wardrobe, and then black. So just a little quick shuffle. This is what Nathan will do as well when he comes over. He likes to organise my closet for me, so I always take out any hangers that don't have anything on them, and I pop them here at the end of this side of the closet. Then you know you've got fresh hangers. And then you can see here we've got a little bit of mixing going on, so we'll put all of these whites to the front. Another white here. And I do also like to make sure there's nothing that I want to donate to charity. Perhaps there's something that I'm not really wearing very often. So I just have a little bit of a shuffle, make sure everything's nice and neat. I can take off this cardigan and put it on properly, just so it sits better. And I just think it's again one of those things that isn't a huge thing, but makes you feel like you've accomplished something and makes you feel like your house is in order. And I think that is very important for mental health, for well-being. So let's put these two roll necks together, because they should be together. And I like to have them at the back of the blue section. I've got this blue, navy blue here. And then same for polos, these can go in front of the roll necks at the end. And then you've got all your crew necks here, blue crew necks. You can see here we've got some more navy blue that needs to come back into this section. And then there's a cardigan and another one here that needs to go into the blue section. Perfect. And then we can put polos and roll necks into the back. And then we finish off with black knitwear at the very end. Oh, actually we'll start with this one. No, we won't, we'll leave that there. And then I just like to tap on the hangers here just to make sure everything's nice and neat. We can take this one out and put it over here. And you will see now that looks a lot better, a lot more tidy and uniform. That took about 40 seconds. I'm going to move this one over as well. And that is a lot nicer and more neat. Okay, we'll go on to the pants section. It's quite difficult for me to film in here because it's small and I want you to be able to see, but I'm going to try. You can see again, we've got the same thing. In fact, one of these items shouldn't be in here. I don't know why. I think this was after a night out or something and I just didn't put this back properly, but that belongs here with the other black things. And then we've got a mixture of denim here, so we're going to put all the denim to... We'll move these hangers just for now, just whilst I sort this out. And we'll put all of this denim... Let's move you into here. Okay. All of this denim to the front, the light denim first. All the light denim. And then we'll go into the darker denim. And these. And then we will go into grey denim. Not much of that, but all the denims together. Then I think we'll go into brown. I only have 1 or 2 pairs of brown, I believe. The other ones are probably being washed. Oh no, here they are. Brown. We have another pair of dark denim here. There we go. Hopefully you can see this. And I basically just do this once a week, make sure everything's nice. I'm going to take these ones out because these are more smart, these black ones, so I'll put these over here. Yeah, just make sure everything looks better. Got some black denim, so we'll put this in here. And neat and beautiful trousers again. Okay, I decided to show you with my iPhone camera because you can see it doesn't zoom in as much so you can see properly. So we've got denim here, going into darker denim, into brown denim, into cream pants, trousers, white and cream. And then here we're going into some tweeds and more wintry things, cords. And there we go. So that is looking a lot better. Nice and neat and organised. All my shoes are there. Some summer clothes, some gloves, a little lint remover, and then in there I have all of my laundry and shoe bags. And that is it. So looking a lot more neat and tidy. So yes, it's just really about taking a little bit of time just to make the effort, and that translates to all areas of the home, to have everything organised and in its place. A few minutes of effort and it looking a lot better. So one of the ways I think you can really make life more elegant every day is by using your best things. How often do we buy things, perhaps when you've just got married or you've moved into a new home, and you splurge on some really beautiful things that you actually really love, but then you store them away because you want to use them for best. And usually that means maybe a special dinner party or a birthday or Christmas, but you're not really using them all the time. And then those beautiful things that you really, really loved end up sitting in cupboards for years on end and you don't get to enjoy them. I truly believe that an elegant life, and any life, should be lived using our lovely, lovely things. For me, every single day is the occasion. We're alive right now and we never know what's going to happen, what's around the corner. So today is the occasion. Use your beautiful things. I promise you, if they break or get damaged, they can be replaced. And even if they can't, it's just something. And at least you got lovely use of it and enjoyed it rather than letting it languish away in a cupboard, hardly ever to be seen. So one of the ways that you can do this is by, for example, when you eat dinner at night with your family or friends or just on your own, use your lovely things. So I do eat in the dining room every single day. I will set the table if I'm just on my own, which is quite often in the week when I'm just here by myself, and I will just set up a little plate. I'll have a glass of wine, some water, some nice cutlery, a napkin, and it just makes my evening so much more beautiful, uplifted, and an occasion. So in the week when you've not really got any plans apart from work, the mundane, you can come home, turn off, close the door, put all the lamps on, and you are creating this, again, beautiful moment to celebrate your life. And your life is wonderful, it should be celebrated. So I just personally think you should use your best things. I'm planning to have a party this week. I'm having friends over. So I'm going to set the table now in preparation, just so that I can make sure everything is ready and so that I can see how it's going to look and save myself some time for the day when the day comes and I make the food. So I like to get everything out, but these are my favourite things to use. They're not really expensive. These glasses, for example, are from IKEA. I have an annual birthday party in January every year here at the house, and I invite quite a lot of people, so I needed a lot more wine glasses. So I bought these ones from IKEA. They're quite nice, quite thin and delicate, and I'm going to use those. And then I've got some a bit more special ones. These are Murano glass. Let me just see. Yep, they're Murano glass, and these are from Rebecca Rudall. I love these. They've got this gold swirl, and you can't really see how delicate they are, but they're so delicate. You have to be very careful when you wash them, hand wash only. I've got the same Rebecca Rudall again. Rebecca Rudall, by the way, is one of my favourite brands. This is not a sponsored post in any way, but I do like her because she's got affordable things but very beautiful things. So you can see this has a basket weave detail here with the brown edging, and it just goes so well with the darker hues of the dining room. And then I like to add in little things that are beautiful that you wouldn't expect, maybe like salt and pepper shakers. This is a collaboration between Addison Ross and Sophie Patterson. Sophie's a friend of mine. She's an interior designer. I mentioned in a previous episode that she has an incredible interior design course that I'm currently doing. So I thought that I bought these recently. I thought that I would use them for the first time. I like these because they're very simple. Again, they've got this detailing, texture, and I like the neutrals in here. My best friend Nathan, who only likes neutrals, whites, creams, browns, he would really like these. Perhaps I'll give them to him for Christmas. Shh, hope he's not watching. So yep, little things like that. But it's really, oh, and one last thing, I have my own design. I designed these napkins about 2 years ago. I worked with a company in Italy. This is recycled linen. I'm not sure whether you can see, but this is really beautiful quality linen. So thick. And these napkins are a great size. A lot of napkins that you get nowadays are small, but these are really big. They fill the lap and they feel substantial. And the fact that they're recycled just makes them even more beautiful. We have to do what we can these days. But yeah, I designed these garden collection napkins. They each have a different stitching on. This is a topiary, and then here we have a pergola, all based on an English garden. The two other designs, but they're a way to be pressed. So I'm going to be using these two designs today. So it's just all about using your beautiful things, not letting them be hidden away in a cupboard or a closet where you only see them once a year. Use them every single day, and then when you look back on your life, you can think, oh, those things really got used. And when I leave this world, if someone decides to send them off to a charity shop or an auction, no longer wants them, which is usually the case, at least you know that you've used them and enjoyed them in your life, and that is what it's all about. So yeah, I'm going to set the table now, and we'll see how this looks when it's all done. So one of the things that I love the most when I have a dinner party at home is candlelight. I find that it makes such a romantic setting and just makes everything so much more beautiful. And I bought this incredible candelabra, which I just thought was so unique, at a local antique store. I wasn't looking for a candelabra, but when are you ever looking for these things? They just turn up, don't they? So I saw it and I thought, wow, this is so unique, I have to get it. Now it is very delicate because these candles are so thin and they don't really sit very well in here, but you have to be careful. But the result is quite beautiful when it is all lit. So I think the best way to do this is just to take a smaller one. There we go. And we get in here like this. But yes, candlelight is a magical thing. And because this has so many arms on it, it really creates a wonderful effect. And you get this drama, which is what you should have for a dinner party, I think. So beautiful. And it's just these little things that make a moment special, that people will remember. They'll remember your elegance. And there we go. So that is my little centerpiece. I've got some dried hydrangeas, which are very autumnal. They've lasted all year. They're going to stay like that forever now. That's the beauty of hydrangeas. If you can dry them out, they really are beautiful. I think that is a great little table. Minimal effort, maximum impact. Well, I really hope that you found this video fun, interesting and insightful, and that it's provided you with some inspiration, some tips and some ways that you can make life a little bit more elegant just with the small things that we do every day, making the bed, organising your closet and other places, setting the table for dinner or lunch or whatever meal that you're having, and just really making the most of your life and enjoying every moment as much as possible. In this world that we're living in, which can be a little bit crazy, I believe that we have to savour these little moments that make life special and more joyful. For me, I realised a long time ago that you can chase luxuries and big things, but actually if you live every day in this way where you're being conscious of what you do and the way that you live and trying to make it special, you will enjoy life a lot more and you can live more in the present. And I think that is really the key to happiness. When I look at my dog Sophie and other dogs, they live in the moment and they enjoy the now. And I think as human beings we tend to aim for more, and then when we get there we don't even realise that we've got what we always wanted and we're looking for the next thing. So it's these things, the small things, making the bed, having a well-organised home, enjoying every meal, setting the table. It's these things that you can enjoy every day and appreciate and live life to the full. So let me know if you enjoyed this video. I would also love to know if you have any things that you do every day that make your life more elegant, or tips that you would like to share with me. I always love to hear from my audience. This has been very fun for me to film. I haven't done a video like this for a long time, so it's great for me to come back to this style of video and to share some of the things that I do in my life every day, because I know that it's something that people ask me about all the time. Take care everybody, bye bye, and I'll see you soon.